Dealing with school bullying, it's one of a parent's absolute worst nightmares. Whether your child is the one being bullied or, and this can be just as scary, they're the one being accused of it, it is just one of the toughest things you can go through. It feels lonely, it's incredibly stressful, and you just want it to stop.
And that feeling, that sense of being completely helpless when you see your child upset or pulling away, let's just acknowledge that for a second. It is a real, valid feeling. And believe me, if you're going through it, you are so far from being alone.
But here's the thing, and it is the most important message we want you to take away from this explainer today. You are not powerless, not even close. We're going to walk you through the practical steps, the real things you can do to protect your child and get a handle on this. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, so first things first. Before you can make a plan, you have to know the rules of the game. And the most important rule is this. Every single school in the UK has a fundamental legal duty to its students.
The big one is called a duty of care. Now, this isn't just some nice idea or a line in a handbook. It's a real legal obligation. It means if a school knows, or frankly, should know, that bullying is happening, they have to take reasonable steps to stop it. If they don't, that's not just a failure, it can be negligence.
And things can get even more serious. You see, if the bullying is specifically targeting a child because of something like their race, a disability, or their gender, well, that can cross a line. It might become what the law calls unlawful harassment, which is covered by the Equality Act 2010, and that gives you a whole other level of legal protection.
And then there's this, which is a massive deal today, defamation. In the world of social media and instant messaging, a false rumor can spread like wildfire. We've seen cases where one horrible, made-up story online has completely destroyed a child's social life. This isn't just kids being kids anymore. Spreading lies that damage a reputation is a serious issue.
Okay, so let's break this down into a clear playbook. We're going to look at two different paths. Let's start with path A, what to do when your child is the one being bullied.
Right. The number one rule here is to get organized. You need to become a record-keeping expert. Every single incident, write down the date, the time, exactly what happened. Screenshots of messages or posts are absolute gold. Then you contact the school. But, and this is so important, you do it in writing. An email creates a record that a phone call just doesn't. If their response isn't good enough, you go up the ladder. Head teacher, then school governors. That paper trail is everything.
Okay, now for the second path. And honestly, this can be just as heartbreaking. Your child is the one being accused of bullying. Your first instinct is to rush in and defend them. And of course it is, but how you handle it makes all the difference. So, take a deep breath. Your first move isn't to argue. It's to ask questions. You need to send a calm, professional email asking for all the details of the accusation and, crucially, what evidence they're basing it on. Your child has a right to a fair process and a right to be heard. While that's happening, you gather your own proof. Because remember, a false accusation can actually be defamation against your child. And you can really see the difference here, can't you? It's a completely different strategy. When your child is the victim, your focus is all about the school's failure to do its job, its duty of care. But when your child is accused, your focus shifts to making sure the school's process is fair, transparent, and by the book. This is the big one. We get asked this question all the time. It feels like a huge step, and it is. The answer really comes down to whether the behavior has crossed a very specific line from bullying into a potential crime.
So, while not all bullying is technically a criminal offense, these things absolutely can be. If there are actual threats of violence, any kind of physical assault, stalking, or sending messages that are really offensive or threatening, that's a crime called malicious communications. And if any of it is motivated by hate, that's a hate crime. In any of those situations, yes, involving the police is often the right and necessary thing to do.
Look, trying to deal with all this while also trying to be a supportive parent for a child who is really hurting, it's just exhausting. It can feel completely overwhelming. So, let's talk about the point where getting some expert support can make all the difference.
So when a parent calls us, the very first thing we do is simply listen. We hear the whole story, no rushing. From there, we work with you to build a strategy. Sometimes that just means we're in the background, helping you write the perfect email to the school. Other times, it means we step in and send a formal legal letter ourselves, making sure the school understands its duties loud and clear. But the goal is always the same, to protect your child and get things resolved.
So if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. You have rights, you have options, and you have way more power in this situation than you think. Whether your child is being victimized or is being unfairly accused, you don't have to just accept it if the school isn't responding properly. Seeking out some clear, practical advice is often the very first step to getting this sorted and finally getting some peace of mind back.